It is snowing February, first weekend in February, I think. We have not gotten a lot of snow this year. This is the most snow we've gotten, and it's like less than half an inch. We may get an inch or two. It's been a warm winter. 60 degrees in January. January, it was probably the warmest January we've had in a long time. Um, I'm going to give you a tour of our homestead, of our farm. We've lived on this property almost 6 years. When we got here, we had our house, and there was a barn and a chicken coop, and that really was it. The back pasture was kind of fenced in, and we did some work back there. But in 6 years, we've done a lot of work. And that's the message I'm trying to tell you today is homesteading is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And really, I don't even want to say it's a marathon because everybody can run their own race, so to speak. Sometimes there isn't a finish line. That's kind of what I like about homesteading is the more I do, the more I want to do. Me personally, if I didn't live in the country, I would be pretty bored. There's so many things I love to do. And you know what? You don't have to be living in the country to be a homesteader either. There really isn't a definition of what homesteading is. So, yeah, I'm going to give you a tour for the snowy day in February and show you what we've done in 6 years. So, right behind me, you can probably see that is the gate to our property. That's one of the first things we put up, actually. We love our neighbors. Well, almost all of them, except for one. And we have friends that visit and family. But we don't want people on our property unless we want them on our property. So that is a gated or locked gate that if we don't want you here, you ain't going to be here. Over here is our front pasture. This was not fenced in when we moved here, which to me was a little odd because it is the flattest part of our property. We live in the mountains of North Carolina. Our house is at about 2,700 feet, and you can't see it, but the top of our property is about 3,400 feet. So it's kind of a narrow property at places and steep. But the flattest part of our property, or one of them, is right here. This was not fenced in. That's probably an acre and a half, not fenced in. So we fenced it in. That was actually one of the first things we did because we had horses when we moved to this property. We were boarding my wife's horse and my daughter's pony. This here is a run-in shed, probably one of our more recent additions to the homestead. This has only been up for maybe 3 months or so. The horses haven't really used it because we're keeping them in the back. As I'm walking, I'm just going to point out anything we've been working on. Those 3 little trees, not here. So just little things like that are important. Every day, you probably aren't going to get done what you want every single day, but every day you'll get a little bit closer. If you can see here, these are just some bird houses I've put up. It's just the little things, right? A small little bird house might not be a big deal to most people, but to me that's important because the homestead is for us, but I also want to encourage and respect wildlife. We have about 20 acres and 6 or so is pasture. The rest is forest. So I'm trying to do my little part to help the local wildlife as well. This little runoff here is our spring. We have 2 springs on the property. One really, and the other one is really just running when we have a lot of rain. This spring runs almost year round unless we have a drought in July and August. But I've had to do some work here too. I've had to extend this pipe. I've had to build this barrier here to kind of keep erosion down. So sometimes you do projects on your homestead that nobody really is going to notice. Nobody's going to care about it but you. And that's one of those projects I've done recently. Over here, if you watch our channel, this is the future she shed. I haven't done a lot of work on it lately. This shed was in, dogs are barking at something. This shed was in my wife's childhood home, and her mom sold her home, and we were able to get this shed, and I'm turning it into a she shed for my wife so she can do quilting and other projects. I have done quite a bit of work, but I still got a lot of work to do. Let's just take a quick little tour. So if you go back to some of our old videos, you can see all I've done and where we started. This was just a bare bone shed. I put up the ceiling. I decided, what the heck, let's make a little loft. Short people like me, we can walk under that, no problem. I've added insulation, this paneling, electric is dried in. I still need to dig a big old ditch to get power. My friend had this old flooring. He did his living room. I guess he redid his living room, and I was able to get this old flooring. So this is just one of the many projects that I'm looking at or working on. Taking a break because I'm saving money so I can keep doing it. As I'm walking from the she shed to the man shed, I'm basically walking the path that I'm gonna have to dig a big ditch to get power from the barn to the man shed to the she shed. I'm gonna use a tractor for most of it, but at a certain point that just isn't gonna happen. Over here is the infamous man shed. It needs a lot of work as well. This shed was not here when we bought the property. My wife found it on Craigslist. We got a great deal on it. I had to do a little bit of roofing. I built a small little step deck there, but I have plans to expand it out maybe another 8 feet. Unfortunately, it's not that organized in there. It's boxes and junk. And I used to do some, I guess, woodworking. Haven't done that in several years, but I used to make tables and boxes, boat paddles. So again, this is one of our plans on the homestead. It's always on my list to expand, and it just hasn't happened. This is a trailer that a buddy gave me. This trailer is like 60 years old. It's an old U-Haul trailer. And it's nice to have on the farm to haul junk and trash and recycling and all that. This here is a chicken coop we had when we were living in an apartment about 7 years ago. And it very heavy. We brought it with us. We have had chickens in it before, but really we were lucky. There was this nice chicken coop. It needs some work. It needs a paint job, but this is where our chickens stay right now. But it's nice to have our original chicken coop still with us. It does need some work. It's one of the projects, you know. I'm walking towards our back pasture. So our back pasture is maybe 3 acres, my guess. You can't see it all. This is where the horses spend a lot of their time. When we bought this property, this was fenced in, but half of the pasture was woods, actually. So we had that cleared. We had a giant burn pile, actually 2 of them, but the first one was probably 30 feet high. And I burned that several years ago. Kind of scary. So this back pasture we're always working on. We have a track system. It's kind of hard to see. We haven't done a video on what a track system is, but it's basically a way for your horses to still get exercise on a small pasture. Maybe when it's warmer and we have it fixed up a little bit, we'll do a video on the track system. This is the dry lot and paddocks for our horses. You can't really see them because, well, you might be able to see a few of them. This here is a run-in shed we had built, and there's a hay hut added to it, or a hay shed. That's where we keep our square bales of hay. I added a gutter system. Whoa! And that gutter system drains into that water trough, and now the horses have a second place to drink. We also have automatic waterers. Those are really nice. Those came with the farm, so nice to have. It even heats in the wintertime, even though it's snowing right now. It's actually not, well, let's see if I can fit through here. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It's actually not that cold right now. It's probably only in the 40s. So I'm walking along the edge of our barn here. These are mulberry trees I need to trim back. The barn was here, and that was a big selling point for us because with our budget, where we were hoping to live closer to is Asheville, where I work. And for our budget, we could not find anything that had a barn. So we kept going further and further from Asheville, and we finally found this property, about 20 acres. In Asheville, we can maybe afford 2 acres because it's so expensive there. So this barn has been a blessing. We have these raised beds, which I've grown crops here, veggies, but I'm kind of transforming it little by little to mainly flowers, because you know what? I like flowers. I do have a dream one day to make a waterfall feature. I don't know if it's going to happen. I also have plans to make a little patio here. This fence, as I'm walking away, I'm proud of this fence. I'm not 100% done. I still got one more gate to build, but I built this fence out of half of it out of, I guess, natural materials, as you can see, mainly rhododendron, some locust post, and this is eventually going to be my pollinator garden. I'm a beekeeper, so it's just another way to help the bees, and I have my herb garden there, my lavender and oregano and basil and all that. We're going to keep on walking away from the house. I had to do a lot of staining of 2 porches. The front porch still needs work. We're passing some fruit trees. This tree is unprunable, really. I just hate it. Every year I prune it, and every year it doesn't do that great. Where the other trees I prune exactly the same, and I don't know what's up with that tree. This here is our small garden. I think it's about 40 by 30. We've had some good success here. It's taken us a couple years to figure out what we like to grow, and I'm always growing something new. That greenhouse was a big mistake. I need to take it down. As I'm walking, you're probably going to see the mini donkeys, which actually aren't ours. They're boarded here. I don't think they're going to be staying here much longer, unfortunately, but that's okay. So this pasture here, we fenced in. This used to be trees. So you can probably see some of the stumps still. And I built a little goat shelter, which is now for the mini donkeys. But this here was all trees. So I made it into pasture. It was not easy. We also got a tree house up there. That was the first thing I built for my daughter. I think I need to redo it, maybe take it down, build something a little nicer. I'm passing the beehives here. I'm gonna go in and scrape that snow in a little bit, but we really don't have much snow. So this is my little bee yard. I've really been enjoying beekeeping. That is probably one of the most fun things I've done as a homesteader. I'm standing by our tractor. We've only had this tractor maybe 2 years, maybe not even 2 years. And it really has been helpful having it. It's opened up projects that we either wouldn't have even thought of, or they were so labor intensive, they were not worth doing, or we'd have to hire someone. But with this tractor, we've really been able to do a lot of things. I'm probably gonna do a video soon on just the tractor and how helpful it is. It's hard to see, but I'm working on some raised beds here, some tiered beds here. Mainly gonna be for elderberry, which I planted some here last year. Again, it's snowing and it's not quite time for the elderberry to start popping. So this is kind of a quick tour of our homestead. I just wanted to show you what we've done in 6 years, and there's still more stuff to show you, but you know, I can't show you everything in one video, right? But my message is homesteading takes time. You can't do everything at once, and if you do, you're gonna be overwhelmed. So instead of looking at day to day and month to month, which is important, take a step back and look at what you've done year to year, and you'll start to see the bigger picture, and you'll start to get your homestead as close to your dream homestead as possible. So until next time, keep on dreaming.